Jnanandana-salakaya Chakshur-unmilitam yena Tasmai Sri-Gurave Namah Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadale Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namah Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shiva Sari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. First of all, I offer my Satsang Dandavat Puspanjali, my heart like flowers thousands of times, at the lotus feet of my holy master, my supremely worshipable spiritual Gurudev. Asmati Paramarada Tuma Guru Pada Padma, Nityalila Pravishta Om Vishnupad, Ashtotara Satasismat, Rupanuga Acharya Varya Sila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. Secondly, I offer my pranam thousands of times at the lotus feet of my Param Gurudev and Srila Prabhupada, our whole Sri Rupanuga Gaudiya Guru Parampara. And finally, I offer my pranam to my dear brothers and sisters. Vancha kalpatarubhishta kripa sindhu devata Puditanam pavani po vaishnavibhyo namo namah. Hari Bol! Radheshyam! Герой. Yes. So today we're studying Srimad Bhagavatam Canto 11, chapter 20, verse 8. So you can repeat after me. Yadrichaya matkatadho Jata sradhastu yapuman Na nirvinno nati sakto Bhakti yogosya siddhidaha Yadrichaya means somehow or other by good fortune. Matkatado Jata Sradhas. Jata Sradhas means that Shraddha, faith, is born. Jata Sradha, faith is born in Matkatado, in Krishna's Katha, and those things connected with Krishna's Katha. Two, certainly, Yapuman, one who, a person, Yapuman means a person who, Yapuman, a person who is na nirvinno, not disgusted with this world, and na atisakto, that means not overly or excessively attached to this world. Then Bhakti Yoga, asya of him, Bhakti Yoga, Siddhidaha, will give all perfection. This is the general meaning of the verse. Now, one thing we can mention here. So it's saying, just to summarize, so you keep it in your heart, if by good fortune, somehow or other, a person develops a Shraddha, faith in Krishna Katha, the discussions of Krishna, and so on, then if that person is not too disgusted with the world, too detached from it, and not too attached to it, then Bhakti Yoga will give perfection to that person very efficiently. Our acharyas have commented here that Mat Katha, of course, means the discussions about Krishna, and Ado means etc. So this etc. includes the philosophy about Sri Krishna. It includes songs if you develop faith in singing. It's a very important part of Vaishnava culture. You can feel it. We just sat down and we sang this song that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself used to sing of the Vidyapati. Madhava He. Just sing your heart out to Krishna. Krishna. If someone tries to count my faults, they cannot get to the end of them. I have so many faults. And if they try to look for my good qualities, then it's very hard. They cannot even find the slightest trace or scent of a good quality in me. But I just realized I have one redeeming feature. What is that? My redeeming feature is this, that you are Jagannath, the Lord of the universe. And I am not outside of the universe. I'm in the universe, so you must be my Lord. That's my that's my positive quality. So you must be my Lord. I'm so sinful, I don't know what will happen to me if I'll take birth as an animal or a bird or even an insect. But as my karma is maturing and I'm coming and going lifetime after lifetime in this world, I only request for one thing, that my mind can be Rati Mahutu or Parasange, that my mind is always thinking about your Katha. So here Katha by Lakshana Briti means songs glorifying you. Sometimes devotees can get very mental, very everything seems complex or difficult. Bhakti is not difficult. Kirtanya Sadahari, sing. That's it. Sing to Krishna for Krishna's pleasure, for Krishna's happiness. And if Krishna is pleased, you will be pleased. Yasmin tuste jagat tushtam. Don't make things complicated. So, if by good fortune a person develops faith in narrations about Krishna, philosophy of Krishna, songs about Krishna, and the acharyas also say, and dramatic performances about Krishna as well. So Ado, included here, is making dramas. Watching them, writing them, reading them, playing in them, making the backdrops and the costume, all everything. Right? This is all included. Have Shraddha in that. So, Yadrityamat Katado, Jatasada, if faith is born. Actually, it's not the fact that people don't have faith. Everyone has faith. The problem is they have faith in the wrong things. In Bhagavad Gita, Sri Krishna said, Trividha bhavati sraddha. That there are three types of faith. And that is Swabhavaja, born from your Swabhav. In other words, Swabhav means the conglomerate, the aggregate of all the impressions in your subconscious mind. They make the essential background music of your life. That's playing always in your head. So your basic just worldview or basic disposition, the way that you see yourself in relation to others, that is from the perspective of the one physical body to others, this false avidya, then we have a basic kind of level mood, and we sometimes go a little bit up and a little bit down, but we always return to the base level. And so that atmosphere, our internal atmosphere, that we call each other's personality, is just like the background music created by the conglomerate of all the samskars in the subconscious mind from all the past activities. So then that is called your Saddha, actually. So one person, due to the collection of their past activities, they have very strong faith in working to get stuff, fruitive work, reward-seeking activities. I think this is it, right? I have to just work hard and sweat and try to get the stuff that I need to enjoy. So this is very rajasic and or tamasic in many cases. But if a person has entered into a more elevated Vedic culture, where they see that performing pious activities, by that they can go to heaven, enjoying this life and go to heaven, then that is a shraddha in karma. And if a person thinks that actually this world is a place of suffering, I am spiritual in nature, I should try to get out, and then they cultivate detachment from the world, then they have shraddha in jnana. And then another person, they have faith, well, if I'll sit and control my breathing and concentrate my mind, I'll get some mystic powers. And actually the mystic powers of the Ashtanga Yoga, they're not the goal of Ashtanga Yoga. They're the unnecessary byproducts, which are actually distractions from the goal, which is a kaivalya. Most yogis consider kaivalya to mean the Paramatma Sayud, Ishvara Sayudhya, that the soul will merge with the body of Paramatma. So, anyway, if a person believes in this, doing some mechanical process, adjusting the pran and the chitta and so on, so that they can become detached from it and be liberated, then they have a shraddha in yoga. So everyone has a different type of faith. But here, Krishna is not speaking about that. He's speaking about yadrichya matkathado jata shraddha, the faith that has come in listening to his pastimes. Persons who haven't developed that, then they listen to the pastimes of Krishna and they're wondering, oh, what a colorful mythology. Who is this? Perhaps Krishna is some historical person from many years ago, and slowly over the generations everyone started exaggerating about his heroic deeds until it became these fabulous stories everyone's talking about. So someone may think that Krishna is some historical person, and many legends have risen up about him, and someone may think that he's completely fictional. Or someone may think that it's all the pastimes are symbolic, that we have to see in a symbolic way, just like Bhagavad Gita. Then everything is symbolic. The chariot is the body, and the horses are the senses, and Arjuna is the material ego, but he has to surrender to Krishna, the Atma, and you are Krishna. Whatever. People make up just some symbolic things, because their knowledge is not coming in parampara. If knowledge is not coming in parampara, then it must be wrong, because there isn't another way of getting infallible knowledge. It is intrinsically, absolutely, and infallibly wrong. Because that knowledge which is sarvatit, sarvasray, of the sarva achintya, ascharya swabhav, that which is inconceivable, which is beyond everything, which is the shelter of everything, that knowledge can only come from the amnaya, that is the Guru Parampara Dwara Prapta Veda Vakya, the statements of the Vedas received in Guru Parampara. So maybe in some teachings there may be some relative truth related to the gradual progress from the lower gunas to sattva gun. We find that. It's not uncommon. But to understand that the deepest region of transcendence, the pastimes of Sri Krishna, is not accessible except for through the Shabda Brahma, spiritual sound received in the Guru Parampara. So, here, Krishna is speaking about faith in Katha. That means that you are listening. You are not listening thinking even Krishna is God. If you're listening to Katha about Krishna thinking Krishna is God, it's not enough. If you're listening and thinking this is an explanation of what God does, and you believe that God does this, and He did what you're listening to, He did it 5,000 years ago when He appeared on earth, this faith is not enough. when you are listening and you are thinking that this katha, this very vibration of the pastime is Krishna and his pastime itself and it's happening right now, then you have Shraddha in Harikatha. Shraddha in Harikatha. Harikatha is Sri Krishna himself. It is not different from him, his pastimes and his associates. It's not a historical count of something that happened before, but it's happening right now. And those who are really doing Sravana, really hearing, they can catch that internal perception of the Leela. Because Krishna's Leela, Nimesha Dakya Va Shravati, that one moment, 1 second never passes. Each moment of Krishna Leela is an eternal reality. And therefore, when a realized soul is seeing the pastimes of Krishna in his heart and describing them, then there's a transmission of that pastime happening right now to the hearer. So this is a Shraddha. Faith in Harikatha. So that faith, how does it come about? So it's said in this verse, Yadrichaya. Yadrichaya, somehow or other by good fortune. So our class today is on this word only, Yadrichaya. We're only going to discuss one word, Yadrichaya. Yadrichaya. There's some discussion there. So, the reason, someone may say, well, this is a bit pedantic, why are you talking about this word Yadrichaya? But it's really, really deeply, philosophically, ontologically important to understand this word Yadrichaya. Somehow by good fortune. And the reason is this. Transcendentalists, those who are interested in the ultimate reality, the absolute truth, know that that absolute truth is beyond time, beyond space, beyond cause and effect. So, anything that you do in this world is a cause which has an effect. And so all the activities are within the chain of cause and effect within the material world. So then the problem comes, how do you get out of this realm of cause and effect? How do you get out? So the obvious thing is that you just don't do anything. So that is vairagya. And many people come to that conclusion. To become free from karma, you have to just stop doing any activities. Right? So many sages, they leave their homes, their families, their society, they go to the mountains and live in a cave. But they cannot stop doing anything. And Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Nahi kaschit sanamapi jatu tistati kamakrit kaya teha vashaka karya sarva prakriti jara gunai. Krishna said, hey Arjun, that stuff is not going to work. Why? Because no one can refrain from doing some activity, even for a second. You cannot. Kaya say shyavasa karya. Everyone is forced to act. So, to become free from the chain of cause and effect from karma and attain transcendence, if you're forced to act, how can you do it? And it also means that just leaving everything, renouncing everything, trying to become a recluse. Even a recluse has to eat, has to bathe, has to sleep, has to have some shelter, has to do something, just so he can continue his meditation. So, it's very problematic. On the one hand, the truth is beyond cause and effect. On the other hand, everyone's forced to act. And every action will have another reaction. So how does one become free? So, someone may say, if I act in this world but without ahankar, then it will not produce a reaction. So that's true. That's true. Yagya tat kamanonyatra loko yam kama bandhana tada tam kama kuntaya santa samachara. Krishna said in Bhagavad Gita, if you if you don't act out of false ego, as a whim, oh, I want to do this, I want to do that, but rather you just accept your position in this world, that here I am within the Virat Roop, the universal form of the Lord, manifested by Paramatma. I'm a part of Paramatma, so I have to do my duty in relationship with Him. So I'll do my duties, whatever ashram or varna I'm in, I'll do those duties without desiring the fruit of activity and without considering myself to be the doer, that these activities are carried out by the gunas and I'm only Shakshi, a witness. So if a person acts in this way and he's doing everything as a service to Yagya, here Yagya is a name of Vishnu, Paramatma. So then that person, he will not make any more karma. That person won't make any more karma. Because for karma to be reactive, to get the effect of your action, you have to be the cause of your action. In other words, you have to be acting out of ego. So that's one way one can slowly become free from the effect of karma, and so one will rise up to sattva gun, and then gyan, discrimination, vivek, discrimination between matter and spirit will start to arise. So that's one way. So there are many persons, and they think that doing your duties for the sake of God is bhakti. So that means their sraddha, their faith is not actually transcendental, but their faith is worldly. It is a lokik sraddha. It's a worldly faith. So, there are many persons who do their duties as an offering for Vishnu. Their aim and object is mukti, liberation. Liberation. Many impersonalists, either they renounce or they stay doing the worldly activities, but their goal is mukti as well. So they consider that the performance of work is only something that you do until jnana arises, then you'll give it up. And so ultimately they all just want to go into vairagya, into some kind of state of non-activity. But everyone will have to act. And they consider that the truth is Brahman, just the light of Brahman. So that Brahman is the niskriya. It has no activity at all. It has no characteristics, has no desire, no shakti, no shape. And that the Atma is really, ultimately, was only that Brahman all along, but now it's just covered by some upadhis, some designations. Just like if you have a pot, there's air inside the pot and there's air outside the pot. So if you smash the pot, then the air inside the pot joins with the air outside the pot. Okay. So they consider like that. The soul is really the all-pervading Brahman. But now it's been parisched. That means divided from the rest of Brahman by the upadhi, by the coverings of the body and mind, which is like a pot. So if we finish our karma, then eventually the mind will dissolve and the body will also be dissolved, and then the pot is gone, and now you are nirvana, liberated. So then they consider that now they have reached a state beyond cause and effect. And they look at devotees and they say, what are these devotees doing? Singing, dancing, making flower garlands, dressing their statues. And such persons who are into the liberation, the oneness, impersonalism, so they think that the devotees are unevolved. That they're just like children. They don't really understand the intricacies of spiritual life. So what they're doing is they're worshipping this deity because the incarnations of God, Vishnu, they're the highest manifestation of Sattva Gun. So by worshipping that which is of Sattva Gun, then you will slowly come up to Sattva Gun, and then when they're mature, then they throw their deities in the Ganges. No need for them anymore. Their use has been it's been accomplished. It's their utility is now expended. no need for them anymore, because you've come to Sattva Guna, and now somehow you have to make that last step beyond the gunas. Rise to the top, and then you can, from there you can be liberated. So they think like this. And because to be fully renounced, to be completely detached and really not do anything, now you're beyond cause and effect. And this bhakti, they see bhakti like a karma, actually, like a pious activity to be elevated. So that's one of the offenses to the holy name. Dhamma brata tyaga hutadi sava shubhakriya samyam api pramada. To think in your mind that the activities of bhakti are some kind of religious ritual by which you become just purified and elevated, and you can get good worldly results in the future and so on. So, this is the way that they see bhakti. And it may be, perhaps there's some misconception, a few cobwebs in your mind that you may consider bhakti in this way. And so that's why we're having this discussion today about the word yadrichaya. That even though bhakti looks like an activity in this world, singing, dancing, decorating, picking flowers, hearing, chanting, studying the Shastra, it looks like an activity within the flow of cause and effect. But bhakti is ahoituki. It is causeless. It is completely causeless. Now that's a mystery. How can it be causeless? It's causeless because the only cause of bhakti is bhakti. Bhakti is the cause of bhakti. The activities of pure devotional service are themselves the cause of themselves. In other words, the bhakti of one person is the cause of the bhakti in another. And therefore, all the activities of bhakti, when they are rendered in the anugatya of Guru Parampara, you see? Because when the spiritual master or pure Vaishnavas, they're telling us, do this, 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 then the bhakti of that Vaishnava becomes the cause of your bhakti. And so, even though you're acting, and we have bodies, so it's natural to move around and do things, but we're using our body in such a way that it is in tune with the instructions of the spiritual master, the guidance of the spiritual master, and empowered by the mercy of the spiritual master. So even though the activities of the devotees seem to be in the flow of cause and effect like everyone else, they're actually situated in a plane beyond cause and effect. So here, yasya haridasya kamana manasagira, jivan mukta suchate. A person, it is said that a person who is fully engaged by their body, mind and words in Krishna service is actually a jivan mukta, liberated even while still living in this world. So the activities of a devotee, they may look similar to the activities of someone else, but one person is tightly bound in karma and making more karma, and the devotee is completely daivya shagunamayi mamamaya. Mahatmanastu mampata daivim prakriti mashrita. They are Mahatma, the Atmas have been fully expanded, Purna Vikasita Chetana. And they're no longer under the laws of cause and effect, they're no longer under karma, they're under the control of bhakti, Krishna's internal pleasure potency. And so they are Mukta Purush, liberated, even while being apparently still in this world. So, therefore, the cause of faith in bhakti, when we have faith, then we engage in bhakti. If you don't have faith, you just won't do it. The stronger your faith is, the stronger you'll engage. The more steady your faith is, the more steady your practice will be. So, faith is the cause of our engagement in bhakti. But what is the cause of our faith? Here, yadrichaya, it is said, by good fortune. Now that good fortune, it can't be that you did some pious activities, because then bhakti itself would have a worldly cause. So, then what is the cause of this good fortune? it can only be sadhu sangha, the association of a Vaishnava. But then one could say, but what was the cause of you having the association of a Vaishnava? Huh? So, that you may say it's Sukriti. Huh? But what Sukriti? Okay, you can say it's Sukriti, but what was the cause of that Sukriti? Huh? So, this is the question that we want to discuss and answer today. When Sri Krishna was in the womb of Devaki, before he appeared, and she was imprisoned in the cell of Kamsa Maharaj, all the Devotees gathered in the sky there, and they were offering prayers to Krishna in the womb of Devaki. So they said, Swayam Samutirya Sudustadam Duman Bhavanavam Beenmam Adabra Suridaha Bhavat Padam Boru Navamattate Yata Nidhaya Sadanugraho Bhavan. Very, very important verse. He's saying, they prayed, Oh my Lord, who is shining just like the sun, your pure devotees easily cross over the ocean of material existence in the boat of devotional service to your lotus feet. But they are so kind that if an ordinary person crosses over a river, then when they get to the other side, the boat is on the other side. But the sadhus, they cross over the river and they leave the boat there for the next person. And the next person can cross, and the next person, and the next person. So, Nidayata Sadanugraho Bhavan. Oh Krishna, you are Sadanugraho Bhavan. Sadanugraha means you give anugraha, mercy to Sat, the devotees. So the implication here is that Krishna only gives mercy to the devotees. God does not give mercy to anyone except for those who are advanced in bhakti. Otherwise he doesn't give mercy to anyone. This is very important to understand, because if we will say that God gives mercy to a random person and makes him into a devotee, now God becomes partial, right? And then you think, well, why did God created us all, why did God give back to this person but not to that person? So then a fault comes in God. So the answer is that Sadanugraha, that those devotees who are already in the shelter of the internal potency, devotees are already in the shelter of the internal potency, Krishna reciprocates with them, not with anyone else. Krishna doesn't even know about the sufferings of others, because he's like the sun, and Maya is like, so it's called here Duman, means, oh Lord, you are like the sun. So there's no day and night on the sun. Right? There's no night time on the sun. There's no darkness. So in the same way, Krishna doesn't know anything about Maya, because he's not in Maya. So the living entities in Maya, Krishna just doesn't know. So then if he doesn't know them, he doesn't think about them, he's not in Maya, how will his mercy come to them? So Sadanugraha means Krishna only gives mercy to the devotees. And Sad Anugraha means Sad, the devotees, are the embodiments or the vehicles of Krishna's mercy. And Sadanugraha means Krishna's mercy comes to the living entities through the devotees. So three meanings of Sadanugraha means Krishna gives mercy only to the devotee is the embodiment of Krishna's mercy, and Krishna's mercy comes to the living entities through the devotee. These are the three meanings of Sadanugraha. And this is why the most valuable and important experience in the whole world is Sadhu Sangha. Because without Sadhu Sangha, without the association of Vaishnavas, there is no other possibility of awakening bhakti. There's nothing you can do that will produce the effect that you have bhakti, because bhakti is beyond cause and effect. It's not part of this world, it's transcendental, it's part of the spiritual world. So, now we come to our verse we're discussing. Yadricha amat katado jat sadas tuya puma. If a person, by good fortune, that means by good fortune arising from sadhu sangha, the association of pure devotees, if they develop faith, so what does that mean that they develop faith? As we mentioned before, everyone has faith, but someone has sattvic faith, someone has rajasic faith, someone has tamasic faith, and that faith is based on swabhav, the collection of your samskars. So nirgun sraddha, or transcendental faith, is also a samskar, but it's a samskar which appears in your heart by the association of pure Vaishnavas. When a person meets pure devotees, serves them, tries to please them, and they are satisfied, then by their mercy, then the samskar appears in the heart, and that samskar is Krishna Seva Vasana. It's a Vishesh samskar, an intense impression which you experience as a feeling. I want to serve Krishna. Krishna Seva Vasana. And then you begin to engage. So the transcendental bhakti of the sadhu was the cause of your sanskar, which is the cause of your engagement. So bhakti remains causeless, ahoituki. Now here it said, na nirvino nati sakto, that the person who receives this faith, he is not too disgusted with the world. Now, being disgusted with the world is an anubhava of Shantarasa. Shantarasa. Those who are in Shantarasa, they see the world, it's disgusting. So, if in Shantaras, a person in Shantaras, there's no service. Those in Shantaras don't do any service. Yeah? There's no seva. There's no mamata, no possessiveness for any particular deity. So those who are in the Shantabhav, then if they see a rishi with a long beard and long fingernails, he's just totally forgotten his body, doesn't shave, doesn't cut his fingernails, anything, just living in a cave, he's completely thin, he's totally emaciated, just eats once every year, like that. Because he's so detached, he's disgusted with the world, he just wants to transcend. So someone in Shantabhav, when they see that person, they go, wow, amazed, they become fired up, I want to be like that. That's udipana for them. If they see some mountains where no one lives, they think, yeah, they get really fired up, brilliant, I can go there, I won't have to look at anyone, don't have to talk to anyone, or interact with anyone at all, that's all Maya. So to be disgusted with the world, such a person, they have the Nirved. It said, actually Bharat Muni says that the Sthayi Bhav of Shantaras is Nirved. For us it's a Sanchari Bhav, Nirved. But Nirved means disappointment. Nirved is the emotion of disappointment. It's all just a waste of time. Right? So for someone in Shantaras, that's like ecstatic. That's their Sthayi Bhav. A rishi who's in Shantarasa, if someone will give him $1 million, like, $1 million. And for him it's ecstatic to just like spit on everything. $1 million. That's like his ecstasy. So Nirved is by Bharat Muni is considered the Sthayi Bhav of Shantarasa. So especially there is bibhatsa. Bibhatsa means disgust. So that person, he looks at his own body and disgusting. Completely detached. You see someone else's body, sees a young woman. Disgusting pile of fat and blood bubbling around it. nirvino means disgust with the world. So when a person is disgusted with the world, that's a Gyan Adhikar. They have Gyan Adhikar. Gyan Adhikar means that which makes you strive to mukti, just to get out of this world. So, if someone is nirvinaha, disgusted with the world, they have Gyan Adhikar. And atisakto, if someone is excessively attached to the world, then they'll try to enjoy it. So they have karma adhikar. So here, because the verse says na nirvino, na atisakto, the person is neither disgusted. That means he doesn't have jnana adhikar. And na atisakto means he doesn't have karma adhikar. Right? So what was the everyone in the world has either karma adhikar or jnana adhikar. It's like that's what everyone has. Automatically, that's what everyone has. So what is the cause of him not having these two types of adhikar? That is the yadrichya matkatado jata sradha. That by the association of a sadhu, he's received this vishesh sanskar, this special impression of faith in hearing and chanting about Krishna. Before, he may have been attached to the world, but by sadhu sangha, he became detached from the world but not disgusted with it. So he's na nirvino, na tisakto. So bhakti yogosya siddhida, that person, easily by practicing bhakti, they'll become perfect. Now, what's the meaning of yadrichaya specifically? In Bhakti Sandarbha, Srila Jiva Goswami Pad, he says, yadrichaya kenapi parama swatantra bhagavat bhakta sangha tat kripa jata mangalodayena. So yadrichaya means by yadrich, by chance. By chance. Yadricha, by chance, means mangaludayena, means by the awakening of good fortune. Mangaludayena, by the awakening of fortune, which is kripa jata. The awakening of good fortune, which is born from the kripa, the mercy of Bhagavad Bhakta Sangha, the association of a devotee. And the devotee is Parama Swatantra, supremely independent. Supremely independent. So I'll just say the phrase again. Yadrichaya Kenapi Parama Swatantra Bhagavad Bhakta Sangha Tat Kripa Jata Mangaludayena. So the example is there in the second chapter of the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Susrusro Sardadanasya Vasudeja Kataruchi Sanmayat Sevaya Vipra Punya Tirtha Nisevanat. When a person goes to a holy place, then the benefit of being in the holy place is sadhus are staying there. If you go to Vrindavan, go to Navadvip, go to Puri, sadhus are staying there. So then he goes there and he meets with the sadhus. And he does some little service, listens, does some service. And by this, they bless him with shraddha in the form of taste. I want to hear all about Krishna from the lips of pure devotees. So now, one may say, well, the cause of his faith was going to the holy place. No, the cause of his faith was the sadhus. But why were the sadhus in the holy place? They just wanted to be. They are Parama Swatantra. The sadhus freely wander here and there. They're completely independent. So it is said, Parama Swatantra Bhagavad Bhakta Sangha Tat Kripa Jata Mangala Udayena. So, therefore, the conclusion is that the cause of bhakti is always sadhu sangha. And the cause of sadhu sangha is sadhu sangha only. So it is said, Tata satsanga hetuscha. Means, Tata satsanga hetuhu. Therefore, the cause of sadhu sangha, Satam swaira charitaiva anya yataha, means the only cause of sadhu sangha, there is no other cause of sadhu sangha other than the independent free will of the sadhu. Now this is very critical point, because one may say, well, the sadhu is under the control, if you only get bhakti from the sadhu, and the sadhu is under the control of Krishna, now Krishna becomes partial again, because he inspired the sadhu to go to you, and so he became partial, he was the cause, he chose one person over another. So the only possible explanation is that the sadhu is not under the control of Krishna, but Krishna is under the control of the sadhu. And that's what we discussed a few days ago in the verse of Lord Brahma. Asyapi deva vapaso madanugrahasya swaicha mayasya natu bhuta mayasya kopi. Lord Brahma glorifies Krishna, saying that your divine swarup is not independent, it's under the control of your sadhu. But here, the inner meaning of the word yadrichaya means that the sadhu is not under the control of Krishna. So how glorious are Vaishnavas? God is under their control, but they are not under the control of God. They have swaira charita. Swaira charita means independent characteristics. So every time you see in Srimad Bhagavatam, or many times in Srimad Bhagavatam, when a rishi approaches any worldly person and blesses them, Shukadeva Goswami again and again he says Yadrichaya, indicating that the sadhu is wandering around the world just out of causeless mercy. Once some devotees they asked Srila Prabhupada, "Oh Srila Prabhupada, what did we do? What good fortune, pious activities did we do in our previous life that in this life we have your association?" Srila Prabhupada said, "I created your good fortune. That is a Mangaludayena, the awakening of good fortune, whose only cause is Parama Swatantra Bhagavat Bhakta Sangha Tadjata Sada Mangaludayena." So the example is that in the 11th canto we see Maharaj Nimi. He was performing a fire sacrifice, and one day the Navayogendras, the 9 masters of mystic yoga, they're actually all great devotees. Kavi Havi Antariksha Prabhuda Pipalayan Chamasa Drumela Karabhajan. So 9 yogendras, they came there. So in describing that, Sukadeva Goswami says, Ta Ekada, once upon a time, Nime Shatram, at the yagya of Nimi Maharaj, Upajagmu, the 9 yogendras approached Upajagmu, when they approached him Yadrichaya, in accordance with their wish. God didn't make them do it, karma didn't make them do it. It wasn't the Sukriti of the Nimi Maharaj either. It was Yadrichaya. They're wandering through the world by their free will. And just by a touch of sadhu sangha, the living beings become freed. Tulevana lavana pina swagam napuna bhavan bhagavad bhakta sangha syamatyanam kimatashish. The Prachetas prayed to the Supreme Lord, said, "I want to give you a benediction." He said, "We don't want any benedictions. We don't want mystic powers. We don't want to go to heaven. We don't even want liberation. The only thing we want in our life is just a second's association with your pure devotee. That's the most valuable thing." So, the word Yadrichaya, there's a Sanskrit dictionary called Amarakosh. And there, Yadricha is defined as Swairita. Swairita means free will. Completely free will. So Yadricha means Swairita, free will. So there's another example. In the 6th canto, we see there was a king, Chitraketu Maharaj. And he was really in a bind, because he'd married 60,000 queens. And all of them were infertile. So that's not good for a king, because a king, he comes from a glorious dynasty. He's trying to glorify his dynasty, but his dynasty has to continue, so he must have a son. So even though he has so many wives, but none could give him a son. So he was doing yagyas, and he was getting older, and he was very worried. And then one day the Angira Rishi came there. So it is said, Tasyaikadha Tubhavanam Angira Bhagavan Rishi. The great Rishi Angira, once upon a time, Lokan Anucharan Eitan, when he was traveling around various planets, yes, he can fly from planet to planet, he came to the palace of Chitraketu Maharaj. Upagatshat Yadrichaya, he arrived there suddenly, Yadrichaya, by his own free will. And then of course Chitraketu, he tried to give spiritual knowledge to Chitraketu, but Chitraketu was just, can you teach me how to have a son? And so then he did a yagya and gave some remnant from that yagya. He said, give this to your wife and she'll become pregnant. So then the wife became pregnant and gave birth to a son. But then all the co-wives became the sapatnis. We were discussing yesterday how the sapatnis, the co-wives, they have jealousy of each other and try to sabotage each other's relationship with the husband. By painting the impression of Krishna's earrings on the other's face while they're asleep. So the other co-wives became really envious, and they decided that, look, now the king only loves her, he only associates with her, he's neglecting us completely. Why should thousands of us suffer just for the sake of one person? So the solution to this problem, if we can just poison this child, then we'll all be happy again. Better one life be spoiled than thousands of lives. So they thought in this Machiavellian way, and they put some poison in the milk of the child, and the child died. Then Chitraketu was going mad in grief, and while he was crying, then Angira Rishi came back along with Narad Muni, and Narad Muni, seeing the weeping of the king, then he called the soul to come back into the body, and then the boy sat up. Narad Muni said, go to your parents. And he looked at all the people in the palace there. He said, who's my parents? I had so many parents. And I had so many lives. So these are your parents. In which life were they my parents? I'm just like a gold coin. Just like a gold coin is in someone's pocket. He says, oh, my gold coin. But then when he spends it and buys something, and he forgets about it, goes into someone else's pocket. And then he's, oh, my gold coin. And the coin is going from pocket to pocket, and whoever's pocket it's in, then everyone loves that coin until they spend it. So he said, every soul is like that. When you come in a pocket, that means you're born in a family, then they love you. Then the moment you leave your body and go to another family, they don't care about you anymore. You're the same person, but they don't care about you. And now the other families think, oh, you're my gold coin. Like this. So all these relationships, they're all on the mental platform. They're all illusory. So then hearing the Chitraketu would not hear instructions from the lips of Angira. He didn't want to know. He was blinded by material desires. He wasn't surrendered. If someone is not surrendered, they have no capacity to hear. You can go in a class, but if you're just going there for some entertainment, you will not understand. Even if you're really smart, really intelligent, you'll not understand. You're going there for some entertainment. But if you have come to surrender and hear deeply, then it will go into the heart and one's life will change. So, but now he'd heard, because he was attached to the boy, then he listened. You see? If we're hearing from a sadhu and we love that sadhu, we love that devotee and we're attached to them and we're dedicated to them, then the words will have effect on us. If there's no attachment, if there's no mamata, possessiveness, oh Gurudev, you are mine, then the sound will not go inside, it will not go into the heart. So, that was a very clever situation, because actually Narad, it was a performance. Narad came there and said, oh soul, come back. But actually, that soul was Angira Rishi. Angira Rishi said, in his karma, that king could not have a child. But Angira said, oh, take this sweet rice, your wife will become pregnant. Angira Rishi went away, went into meditation, and then he entered into the womb of that woman and became the son and acted in such a sweet way to make them attached. And then by his mystic power he made the others give poison to him, and then he left. And then Angira came back with Narad. And they were like a double act. Then Angira went into trance and Narad told the boy, come back. Then Angira entered back into the body of the boy again and spoke to the king. So this time the king would listen to him because he was attached. Before he was attached to his own desires and not to the devotee. So he couldn't hear. So then that devotee was so merciful, Yadrichaya. He was so merciful, causelessly merciful, that he took a form that the king would be attached to and he instructed him through that form. And then that time the king listened and he became detached. And the boy requested permission, now my karma is finished in this life, I have to go. And then the soul went, and then Chitraketu Maharaj became detached from the illusion of the attachments for worldly relations. And he became disciple of Narad. And all his family members also. And they all became devotees. And they became happy, free from the illusions of the worldly life. So, that's the example in the 6th canto, the arrival of Angira Rishi in the palace of Chitraketu Maharaj. Upagatscha Yadrichaya. He arrived there, Yadrichaya, wondering independently by his causeless mercy. There was not anything that person had done to deserve it. Causeless mercy. In the 1st canto, we see that Narad Muni comes to the ashram of Vyasadeva and instructs him, gives him mantra, teaches him how to meditate on the mantra, by which he will realize the pastimes of Krishna. So then after that, Narad Muni he's leaving, he's going on his way. So Suta Goswami said, Evam sambasya bhagavan narado vasavi sutam amantra binam ranayan yayo yadrichiko muni. Thus addressing Srila Vyasadeva, Narad Muni took leave of him, and then vibrating his Veena instrument, he left. He departed to wander throughout the universe, yadrichiko, at his own free will, not under the control of anyone or anything. So we see everywhere in the Shastra, Mahaprabhu said, what does Shastra teach us? Sadhu Sangha, Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Shastrika. All the scriptures are saying one thing, Sadhu Sangha. It's really ironic and quite tragic that people believe in this Ritvik philosophy that you can learn about bhakti from books. Just teach yourself from books without having any sadhu sangha in this life. It's quite ironic because the very books that they think they'll teach themselves from, Mahaprabhu says they're only saying one thing. Let's go to a sadhu. So, Lavamata Sadhu Sangha Sarva Siddhi, all perfection can come from even a moment's association. So, if you study any Shastra, you'll see that glorification of Sadhu Sangha is there all the time. Just like Uddhavji, when he came to Vrindavan, he was weeping and praying, Asam moho charana reinu jusha mahamsyam Vrindavane kimapi gomalatauta sadinam Ya justa jam sojana aya patam chahitva Bejur makunda padavim shuti bevimegam. It would be a matter of great fortune for me if in some future life I could take birth as a herb or a creeper or a small bush in Vrindavan, so that I could get the touch upon my head of the foot dust of the Braja Gopis. They have abandoned everything. They have gave up the path of Vedic Dharma. But there's no fault in them for this. Why? The Gopis don't have to follow the Vedas because the Vedas want to follow the Gopis. Because the Gopis directly hold the lotus feet of Krishna on their hearts. But the Vedas themselves are still searching for the dust of the feet of Krishna. Shruti Bevi Mrigyam. So, it seems like a beautiful verse glorifying the position of the Gopis' love. Yes, but at the same time, it's glorifying Sadhu Sangha. Why? Because before Krishna had the Sangha of the gopis, he was perfectly happy in Mathura. He was thinking, I'm Uddhav, Vrishnino Pravaro Mantri, I am Krishna's friend, I am his minister, I am the chief of the Yadu dynasty, disciple of Brihaspati. He was satisfied, he was happy, he was overjoyed with his position. But then by having the association of the gopis of Braja, his whole view of reality was completely transformed. He became Prematura Bhakta. Prematura means one who is experiencing the extreme anxiety, who's being tormented, who's being tortured by his own unfulfilled desire. I don't want to be Uddhav. I want to take birth as a blade of grass to get the touch of the foot dust of Braja Gopis. Of course, he wants to be Uddhav, he's eternally associate. But he's feeling that his particular love for Krishna is completely deficient. He's completely deficient. He's nowhere on the scale of bhakti. From 0 to 10, he's feeling I'm 0. The gopis are 10 and I'm 0. Where are these gopis and where am I? I'm nowhere. So by association, he was completely transformed. So these verses are actually speaking about the glories of Sadhu Sangha. Now, Srila Rupa Goswami Pad, when he described Sadhu Sangha, he said, Sajatayasu snigdei Sadhu Sangha sutho bare. Sadhu Sangha means to associate with those who are significantly more advanced than ourselves. More advanced. And to associate with those who are affectionate to us, who are taking their, by their free will, taking their time and energy to help us in our spiritual life out of affection. And Sajataya Ashay. Ashay means the antakaran, the chitta, the inner region of the heart. That person should have the mood in the inner region of their heart which you aspire for. The same mood that you are trying to attain. Sajataya Ashay Snigdai. And the reason this is important is that the association that we take affects our mood. So if you will associate with persons who have Aishwarya Bhav towards Krishna, then that means that they see Krishna as God. For example, someone is telling, so then the coward boys told Madhya Yashoda, Krishna has eaten dirt. So then Madhya Yashoda came and said, Krishna, have you eaten dirt? And then Krishna said, no, mother, let me look in your mouth. And then Krishna showed the universe in his mouth. Right? So this is Aishwarya. That Krishna, a little boy, actually he's aware of his God and he said, okay, now I'm going to show the universe to my mother. Like Krishna in Bhagavad Gita saying, Arjuna, now I'll show you the universe form. So if someone's idea of Krishna is, oh, now I'm going to show my universal form to the mother, then there's an Aishwarya Bhav in that katha. The actual situation is that Krishna was afraid of his mother. He was afraid. And so then the Aishwarya Shakti, the Shaktis of Krishna, Krishna gives them independence to play. In Braj, we'll speak about that. That will be one of our subjects tomorrow, a very fascinating subject. How the Shaktis of Krishna in Braj, he gives them all independence, so he doesn't have to be God. He can just be a little boy. Because he's still God, but he's not, his own awareness of being God will cause the rasa of his experience, his exchange with the Brijbasis to become contracted. So Krishna was afraid of his mother, and she said, open your mouth, and he was just thinking, oh, now my mother's going to beat me. So his Aishwarya Shakti, who was always looking for an opportunity to serve him, suddenly manifested the universes in his mouth. And then Madhya Yashoda was, what is this? Am I dreaming? Have I gone mad? Is someone doing tantra on me? She was confused and she just prayed to God, oh Lord Narayan. Some people say that Mother Yashoda actually prayed to Krishna. Oh Krishna, oh God. That she was holding the sun, saw the universe in his mouth and prayed to him. Oh, you are my only shelter. Like many people, they tell the katha like this. And even it looks like that in Bhagavatam. It can be interpreted. Especially not the Sampradayas, they explain it like that. But no, when she prayed to God, she wasn't praying to him, she was praying to Lord Narayan. And she said, oh, only by your illusory energy I'm thinking that Krishna is my son and Nanda Maharaj is my husband. So she completely thinks she's like a person in Maya. Like Chitraketu was in illusion, thinking that his son was his son. So Mother Yashoda is thinking I'm in illusion. She's in illusion, but she's not in the Maya, Mahamaya illusion. She's in Yoga Maya, which we cannot say is an illusion in the same way, because the relationship is eternal. One could only say it's an illusion from the Tatastha perspective. But those who are in the Tatastha perspective can never experience the ras of that lila. So we'll not say that we know Krishna is really the son of Yashoda. That is the perspective from within the lila. So, if someone is that we are associating with persons, they speak about Krishna and explain everything with the Aishwarya Bhav, then you also develop Aishwarya Bhav. And if we hear the katha from a very rasic person who explains in such a way that Krishna is the essence of all sweetness, rather the essence of Bhagavat, the essence of Godhood is the sweetness. Madhurya Bhagavatasa Braja Koile Paracha Taha the Sukha Vyasera Nandan. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu instructed Sanatana Goswami, the essence of Godhead is this Madhurya, the sweetness. So, even if someone will describe the katha of Krishna in a very sweet way, but maybe they're in Sakyarasa, and by their association, then you get the impressions of friendship. They may be in Madhurya Rasa, but Swakiya or Paraswiya, the mood that Radha Krishna in Golok Vrindavan are married. So then that impression will come. So it's very, very important to associate very intimately and closely only with Braj Rasik Rupa Nuga Vaishnavas, who have Atyanta Pragara Mamata, excessively deep Mamata for the lotus feet of Radhika and her maidservants. Then that impression will come. Then the one-pointedness. I don't want anything. I only want to be the Dasi of Radhika. Under the guidance of Rupa Manjari, in the group of Lalita Sakhi. And by that type of association, a Nishta will come and one will go in directly along the path. Sadhya sadhana bina keho nahi pai, kripa kaharai pavara upai. Mahaprabhu, after hearing about the goal of life, his goal of life, for him his goal of life is Sri Radhaya Pranaya Mahima, to realize Radharani's mood. So after hearing about that, then he said, oh Ramananda Rai, without doing the appropriate sadhana, one cannot attain his sadhya. So kindly explain this to me. So, Srila Rupa Goswami, Srila Raghunath Das Goswami, they have in their poems, in their dramas, and so on, they have expressed about the sweetness of Braja. If you follow Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu fully, but you still not really be Rupanuga, because he hasn't described his own bhav there. If you follow even Ujjwala Nilamani of Rupa Goswami fully, but you still not be Rupanuga, because he's described many moods of different gopis, and his own bhav is just touch, little, in a few places. So, those who are Rupanuga will take shelter of Rupa Goswami's poetry, where he has expressed his own treasured sentiments. That means Gandharva Sanspartanastakam, Chatu Pushpanjali, Karpanja Panjika Stotra, and Utkalika Valari. Especially these 4 prayers of Rupa Goswami. If one is taking shelter of them, then their sadhana has been adjusted to be Rupanuga. So, for example, Srila Rupa Goswami has prayed, Tvam prachadena buddhirascha vina pidaya manjira mukta charanam cha vidaya devi kunjai brajendra tanayena virajamane naktam kada pramuditam abhisarayisye. This is the mood of Rupa Goswami. He's praying, when will that day come? When I will be Rupa Manjari. In Yavat with Radhika. Radhika feels when she's in Yavat that actually this is not my home. You may think, Yavata Vivahabe, when will I be born in Brishobhanupur and then be married and live to Yavat, so then Yavat will be my home? No, never think that Yavat is your home. Radharani thinks the forest, the kunjas of Vrindavan, that's my home. And this place in Yavat is the forest. Why? Because in the kunjas of Vrindavan, my home is where my heart is. That is where I meet with Krishna. And this place, Yavat, this is the forest because it's full of wild, ferocious animals like Jutila and Kutila and Abhimanyu. I never feel at home here. This is not my home. So the night time is coming and everyone is going to go to sleep. So at that time, Radharani needs help. How to get out of this prison? If she'll just walk out, someone may see her. If they don't see her, maybe they'll hear her. Because chaste ladies, they have to wear nupur ankle bells. So Rupa Goswami said, when will that day come? When? See Krishna Virahe Radhika Dasa Amito Sahiti Pare. Seeing Radharani's separation from Krishna, I cannot tolerate it. I am ready to give up my life 100 times just to bring about the meeting of Radha and Krishna. So then Rupa Manjari makes a plan. She takes some dark cloth and wraps it around the ankles of Radhika to muffle out the sound of ankle bells. So they'll not make any sound. It's a dark moon night. So she brings a dark blue cloth and wraps Radhika in the dark blue cloth. And then she goes out into the courtyard, looks around, makes sure no one's there. And then she goes, come, the coast is clear, come. So Radhika is quickly running into the shadows. They come out of the house. Then there's a space and some trees. And then another space of open ground and some trees. So each time, Rupa Manjari is being the first one, looking here and there, and running to the next shadow, looking around, then telling Radharani, come, come. And then Radharani is quickly going to the next shadow, like this. So it said that when Radharani is going on Abhisar, it's like a rabbit. You know rabbits, they go bang, 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 and then they stop. And they go bang, 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 stop. So like a rabbit, under the guidance of Rupa Manjari, taking shelter. Though Krishna is the shelter of all existence, Krishna is in the shelter of Radhika, but Radhika takes shelter of Rupa Manjari. Why? Because in separation from Krishna, her mind is so shattered by separation from Krishna that she can't think what to do. That's why she takes shelter of her Sakhis. So she's guiding her through the forest. Radharani looks and sees the shape. Chitila's coming. But then Rupa Manjari goes and looks and says, no, it was just a tree stump like this. It was a broken tree like this. When Radhika is going through the forest, if she hears the roar of a lion in the forest, then she doesn't care. Okay, lion, it's over. So she's not afraid. Because she's just thinking, I have to go to Krishna. A lion in the forest that's not fearful. The separation from Krishna is fearful. But if she hears the sound of a crow, then she becomes terrified because it sounds like the Jotila. Sounds like the voice of Jotila. Where are you going? Huh? So gradually, Tonpratstadena Muridat Chabina Pidaya. So Rupa Manjari is bringing Radhika, and she brings Radhika to a very beautiful kunj. Beautiful kunj. And says, you wait there, sit here, I'll go and bring Krishna. So they already arranged to meet in one place, but Rupa Manjari doesn't take Radhika to that place, takes her to another place nearby, deliberately, and then goes to the kunj where Krishna is waiting. Krishna is waiting, sitting. Sometimes he's decorating the bed with flowers, flower petals. Sometimes he's decorating himself, looking in the mirror. So he's making himself beautiful, he's making the kunj beautiful. Sometimes some birds are moving in the trees outside and it rustles the leaves. And Krishna thinks Radhika's coming and he comes outside all expectantly and no one's there. He says, I've got a few more minutes to make it more beautiful inside. Then he goes back inside. So Krishna is in such anxiety, he's just like the Vasaksaja, the Naika, the Vasaksaja Nayak who's preparing to meet her beloved. But Krishna is going through these stages. Vasaksaja, Utkantita, so much anxiety. So finally when Rupa Manjari comes there, then Krishna he's so happy because if Krishna sees Rupa Manjari, then he knows that Radhika must be nearby. So Krishna very happily, he greets Rupa Manjari. Oh, where is Radhika? Rupa Manjari says, I regret to inform you that the security of Jotila is so tight today that Radhika could not escape. So she cannot meet with you tonight. And then Krishna, his heart is broken. Alas, alas! And he falls to his knees with tears in his eyes. He's crying. And when Rupa Manjari sees Krishna tortured in this way and weeping, she feels such satisfaction. You know, generally it says, Yasmin tu stay jagantustam. If God is satisfied, then everyone becomes satisfied. But Rupa Manjari becomes satisfied when Krishna is completely dissatisfied. Oh, very good. He's suffering. Why? Because this is the anubhav of his separation from Radhika. So Rupa Manjari is so proud. She's so proud when she sees Krishna suffering. Oh, my Swamini. Her love has completely controlled him, completely captivated him. He cannot live without her. So then when Rupa Manjari has had enough fun, then she says, I was only joking, Shama Sundar. Now I'll turn all of your worries into the sky flowers. They'll all disappear as if they never happened. She's nearby. I've bought her, she's just nearby. Come with me. Then Krishna will tell to that Manjari, oh, na parayam nirvanchu samyudhyam swasadu krityam vibhushayam. I cannot repay you for even one of your activities. What activity? Bringing Radhika to meet with me. I cannot repay you. Ya Mahabajan Durjaya, just for my sake. You broke all the shackles of Jotila and Kotila and Abhimanyu. She was kept in a prison there. And you have brought her, you cut all these obstacles. And you have brought Radhika to me. I can't repay you. Because Radhika is so dear to Krishna. If someone will bring Radhika to him, how can he repay that person? It's impossible. So then, Rupa Manjari is taking Krishna by the hand and bringing him to the kunj where Radhika is waiting. Naktam kada pramuditam abhisarayise. When will that day come? When now Rupa Manjari really feels the bliss. Not only seeing Krishna's happiness, but when now she brings Krishna to Radhika and seeing the expression on Radhika's face when she sees her beloved, then, oh, naktam kada pramuditam. Pramudita means when I make you promote. When, oh Radhika, when will I make you become overflowing with joy? By bringing Krishna to you. So the person whose happiness is residing only in Radhika's happiness. then that is called Ananya Srirada Pada Kamaladasya Rasati. Ananya, one-pointed devotion to the lotus feet of Radhika. This is the mood of her kinkaris. So when we associate with Vaishnavas who are always daily chanting the holy names and immersed in Radhika's seva, and we hear katha from them. No, even you don't hear katha from them, only just be there. The atoms of Prem emanating from their body will touch you, and also this mood will come. Just by being with them. Because chitta is like a crystal. So if you'll associate with someone, if they'll explain katha, open their heart, this is wonderful. But even just being with such a person, their presence will influence you to become one-pointed into that mood. And that is real sadhu sangha. Sadhu means sadayati, sadnoti sadayati iti sadhu. Who is practicing himself and causing others to practice is a sadhu. Who teaches you about your sadhya and adjust your sadhana to be directly pointed towards that sadhya is a sadhu. And sangha with the sadhu means samyak rupain anugaman, to completely follow them outwardly and in accordance with the adhikar also inwardly. Then that is called sangha, sangha, completely follow. So when the sadhu is of such a caliber and the disciple is such submissive and surrendered and devoted in that way, then sadhu sangha occurs. And then that bhakti, which is a hoituki, which is causeless, which is beyond this world, from that sadhu comes into the heart of the disciple. And then by the force of that disciple is chanting, dancing, singing, wandering here and there, speaking the glories of Krishna, serving the deities, and doing all different types of devotional service and all those activities. That is the liberated position. Being in the world, but beyond this world, because the cause of the activity is bhakti itself, and the cause of that bhakti was the sadhu, and the cause of the meeting with the sadhu was just the sadhu's free will, because he is also just flowing in the current of bhakti. So bhakti is the cause of bhakti. Beyond cause and effect, it is beyond this world, completely transcendental. So that is the essential meaning of this important verse of Srimad Bhagavatam. Yadrichya mad katado jata sadas tuyapuman na nirvaino nati sakto bhakti yogosya siddhidha. Siddhidha. Then bhakti will give you siddhi. That means swarup siddhi, that you will attain your beautiful spiritual form as a maidservant of Radhika, and Vastu Siddhi, that you will give up this body and enter into the Krishna's Prakat Bhoma Vrindavan, to be further trained up and then go to Goloka Vrindavan, Braj, Golok Braj. Gaur Premanande. So are there any questions? Yes.
Three things come to my mind and help me reconcile with what you have said. What you have said sounds completely correct. It just help me reconcile. One is we pray to Krishna for sadhu sangha. Here you explain Krishna as in control of the devotee. That's one. Second, we have Bhaktistu Bhagavad Bhakta Sangha Parijayate. In that shloka we says how through Sukriti.
Sukrita Purva Sanchita. Yeah.
Through Sukriti we get the association.
Yes, good.
And Brahman Brahmite, where Krishna's mercy we get Guru, then in Guru's mercy we get Krishna. So these three things come where it indicates that Krishna is helping a jiva get this association.
Yes, that is a misconception. It appears like that. It's a misunderstanding of the verses. So we'll deal with them one by one. First of all, if a devotee is praying to Krishna for sadhu sangha, then that means he already had sadhu sangha that influenced him to understand the importance of sadhu sangha. Right? Because what's the definition even of a Kanishta Adhikari? That they believe in the Lord and Archan, the path of Archan, worshipping the Lord, but they have faith in their guru as well, but they don't know how to associate with other devotees. So even the Kanishta Adhikari, he may have faith in Guru and Krishna, but it hasn't really got it yet. The penny hasn't dropped. It hasn't clicked with him that actually the most important thing in life is sadhu sangha, the association of advanced Brasik Vaishnavas. So when that devotee feels that the Vaishnavas are my life and soul, they are my worshipful entities, they are my only wealth, they themselves are the walking tirthas, they are walking holy places. Now, and he knows how to associate with devotees on different levels, Kanishta, Madhyam and Uttam. Now he's entered into Madhyam Adhikar. So if a person is really fervently praying for the association of devotees, it means he already had sadhu sangha that made the sanskar to go like this. This is the first thing. So then, the next one, I believe it's Naradiya Purana, where he said, Bhaktistu Bhagavad Sangha, Bhaktistu Bhagavad Bhakta Sangena Parijayate, that bhakti only comes from the association of devotees. But Satsanga Labhipe Pumbe Sukrita Purva Sanchitai. And that sadhu sangha, by which you get bhakti, only comes from previous lives sukriti. Now what it means is this: there are two types of sadhu sangha. Accidental sadhu sangha, accidental on your part, and then sadhu sangha which is intentional. In other words, you're associating in order for the specific intention to progress in your devotional life. Right? So ado shraddha tatha sadhu sangha tapajana kriya. First it says in the beginning there's faith, and then there's sadhu sangha. This sadhu sangha is actually not the first, it's the second one. Because it's intentional on your behalf. You heard of a sadhu and you bought a ticket and you flew to the other side of the world to be with that sadhu. Right? You went out of your way to do it because you already had shraddha. But where did that shraddha come from? That was the other type of sadhu sangha. Right? So that sadhu sangha, that was on your part accidental. And it came by the sadhu who was yadrichaya, by his free will wandering here and there. And it was by chance by you, but it was by his free will. And then by that association, you got shraddha, the Vishya sanskar. And then after that, you were searching out sadhu sangha. You see? So when it says satsanga labhyate punkti sukrita purva sanchitai, it's the second kind of sadhu sangha. If by the causeless mercy of a sadhu in your previous life, they gave you the sukriti, that means the sanskar, the impression that when, let's say in your next life, again by chance you meet a sadhu, but you actually take advantage of it. Right? Because you have the impressions, this sadhu sangha is wonderful, I want to progress in bhakti. So like this. So the second type of sadhu sangha, which is intentional, you get that by the sukriti, and that sukriti is what? Sadhu sangha, the first type of sadhu sangha in the previous life. Yeah? Then we come to the next one. Prabandha Brahmaten Kond Bhagavan Jeev Guru Krishna Prasadi Pai Bhakti Lata Bij. So here it says Brahmanda Brahmate, a living entity is wandering around. And Kon Bhagavan. Bhagavan means he's fortunate. What is that fortunate? Mangaludayena. It is the awakening of good fortune, which came from sadhu sangha. Because generally a devotee will not receive the Bhakti Lata Bij, in most cases, in their first sadhu sangha. In their first sadhu sangha, they'll sit at the back and they're squinting, looking what's going on. And they're wondering, how can I be a devotee and a Christian at the same time, or something like that. They have some issues going on inside their mind. But somehow they like it. So they come back the next day. And so on. Like this. So that he doesn't have the Bhakti Lata Bij then. He's just looking and starting to feel a little bit comfortable with devotional service. So he associates again and again, and it builds up his sukriti. That's his bhagavan. That's his sukriti. So when the sukriti starts to become mature, then he comes to that stage where he's deliberately associating with the sadhu, and he thinks, oh Maharaj, I want to take shelter of you. and he does Guru Padashah, he actually surrenders. So now he's surrendering and serving under the guidance of that sadhu. He starts to go through, takes initiation, he starts to go through bhajana kriya, his anarthas start to clear, and he gets nishta, steadiness, and then ruchi comes. And that ruchi, Shraddha, imbued with ruchi, is the Bhakti Lata Beach. That's actually the seed that will turn into the fruit of Krishna Prem. You see? So from Ado Shraddha all the way up to Nishta, this is actually not Bhakti Tattva, that is Sharanagati Tattva. That's gradual surrendering. Because the anarthas are the resistance to surrender. So as the anarthas are clearing, so the resistance to surrender is clearing. And then when he's surrendered, steadily surrendered, now that's the doorway to bhakti. And now the seed is planted. And that seed will grow. So it will be faith imbued with a particular kind of ruchi. It's a particular kind of ruchi. So Guru Krishna Prasadi Pai Bhakti Lata Bij means that it's by the mercy of the Guru that he gets that. Because really to receive that seed, the Guru, in general sense, you'll see that he'll be instructing you for years, actually, and making an effort to, because the Bij is actually samskar. We're talking about the samskars that develop. So the Bij is a samskar that enables you to actually have taste in a particular sambandha with Krishna. Just like we were giving the course last week in Shravanal about drama. And so there are 15 components which make the subtext of the drama. So one of them is called there are the 5 Karyavastas and then the 5 Artha Prakritis. So the Artha Prakriti begins with the Bij, the seed, and that is, there's a desire in the heart of the hero in the drama. Something happens and that seed comes out, and then things are happening that water it and develop it, and it grows and grows and grows. So that Bij is some samskar in him. So if the hero is a material hero, then it's a Bij. It's literally, Aparabdam palam papam kutam bijam phalam mukam. It's the Bij of a samskar of a worldly activity from a previous life, which in this life makes him say, I want to be whatever, the emperor of the world, or I want to marry the princess, or whatever it is. So the Bhakti Lata Bij is that also. It's a Vishaya sanskar. And so when that living entity who's fortunate, who's developed a lot of sukriti, that means he's associating, he's serving and serving. Slowly, slowly, that Bij, that intense impressions come together, and then that means that he's hearing kata and he's got taste in all kata. He's got taste in all kata, but he's got a special taste in the kata related to a particular sambandha, and that will be ruchi. You see? And that is the Bhakti Lata Bij. And he'll go on watering that, and it will eventually become Prem. So Prabandha Brahmatikon Bhagavan Guru Krishna Prasadi Pai. Guru is mentioned first, not Krishna. Guru is mentioned first because the Guru is the immediate cause of the mercy. But the Guru himself is what? Sadanugraho Bhavan. That mercy that Guru is giving is actually Krishna's mercy. But Krishna doesn't give it. The Guru gives it. But it's Krishna's mercy. Therefore it's Guru Krishna Prasadi Pai Bhakti Lata Bij. Like that. So in this way I think all 3 questions have been answered. Is it okay? Clear? Clear? No doubt? Huh?
When you said that when we are praying to Krishna, you said the initial samskar sadhu sang only gave you, which made you now back to Krishna. So now in future what will it be? Will it be Krishna's will? Will it be Sukriti? Or will it be the free will of Guru or Sadhu? Future.
Yes. Well, as I mentioned, Krishna reciprocates with those who have attained bhakti, because he only interacts with his own Swarup Shakti. So until the disciple becomes the ashraya of that Swarup Shakti, then his only possibility of mercy is through the devotees who are the shelter of that Swarup Shakti. Understand? And that's why Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, Sadanga Sharanagati hoibe jaha Tahara Pratana Shuni Srinanda Kumar. It says that the son of Nanda Maharaj only hears the prayers of one who has taken full 6 angas of Sharanagati. So that's the doorway to bhakti. So once one has gone through that door and the Swarup Shakti is coming, now Krishna may hear your prayers. But before that, pray to the Vaishnava. Vaishnava will hear, and then he will speak to Krishna on your behalf. So the only way Krishna can hear our prayers is the mediator speaks to Krishna on our behalf, until we ourselves become the ashray of Swarup Shakti. Yeah? Any other question? Yes?
I was reflecting on this, what you said in the beginning, about the Jiva Mukta. And I was thinking, when a pure devotee of the Lord looks at us, I was thinking, an Uttam Adhikari, I was imagining, or maybe reading, that he can see only jivas who are already engaged perfectly with body, mind and soul in the service of the Lord. So I was thinking, maybe such a person is already perceiving only perfected souls. And if Krishna has to follow his pure devotee and is controlled by him, wouldn't that mean that everyone who has taken shelter with a pure devotee of the Lord kind of is already to be considered on a certain platform, a Jiva Mukta himself, herself?
Okay, so the question has the different components. Firstly, there are 3 levels of Bhagavata. The Prakrita Bhakta is not a Bhagavata really, but he's in the initial stage. Then you have the Madhyam Bhagavata and then the Uttam Bhagavata. So their visions are different. Now the Uttam Bhagavata sees that everyone's serving Krishna. That's his vision. So the Uttam Bhagavatas, generally, when they're in that consciousness, they don't preach. They don't preach. But their consciousness is adjusted so they see the world like a Madhyam Adhikari. And then they can distinguish who is a devotee and who isn't a devotee. Because the Madhyam has a vision. He sees, here is God, here are the devotees, here are the innocent people, and here are the envious people. He can distinguish between them. So, generally, the work of spreading Krishna consciousness is done by the Madhyam Adhikaris, those in the intermediate stage, or by the Uttam Adhikaris who've adjusted their vision to be able to discriminate like a Madhyam Adhikari. Just like with the binoculars, if you focus the binoculars on something on the hill over there, and then you try to look at someone right here, then they're all blurry, like that. So the Uttam Adhikari is a bit like that he sees the very reality from a very high perspective, and he doesn't see that the people around him are suffering. He just sees joy everywhere. So then when his vision, you can adjust the binoculars that you can now look at something here. So the Uttam Adhikari's vision is adjusted so that he can now discriminate who's a devotee, who isn't a devotee, and so on. And he sees the suffering. And of course, when he sees the suffering of the people, his heart melts. So everywhere that person goes, his mercy is flowing. His mercy is flowing everywhere. But that means that he won't give mercy to someone because they have good qualities. We're thinking that the pure Vaishnava is walking around thinking, oh, this person is not very nice, I'm not going to give him any mercy. But this person's super nice, let me give the mercy to him. No. No. Pure Vaishnavas are not like that. They give mercy to everyone. But due to the level of conditioning of the person, they may or not be able to receive that. Or they receive, but the effect does not come as fast. It's just like if you get dry wood and throw it in the fire, it just goes up in flames. But if you have a green wood that's been soaked in water and you throw it in the fire, it takes some time to burn. So when pure devotees are going, they're actually just giving mercy everywhere they go. Right? Shri Guru Karuna Sindhu Adama Janara Bandhu. He's a friend of completely useless, worthless people. and an ocean of mercy. So pure devotees always give mercy. But you won't see the effect exactly the same on everyone depending on their stage. So many examples are given how the mercy that pure devotees give to others is completely causeless. Completely causeless. For example, Upachari Vasu. Upachari Vasu was a king, and he was doing his duty as a king, and he fought in a battle on behalf of the demigods, and he was so powerful that he destroyed so many demons. But then after fighting, he wanted to retire to the forest and do his bhajan. So then the demons, they wanted to get revenge on the demigods, but they thought, but the demigods, they'll go to the ashram of Upachari Vasu and say, come on, just stop chanting a minute, come and fight again. So they thought, let's just kill him while he's in trance. We can't kill him while he's with all his weapons, but when he's in the forest and he's sitting chanting, let's just go and kill him then, and then we'll be able to defeat the demigods. So the demons came, and they came with weapons, and they snuck up on him, and they were coming from all sides with their weapons, and they went, and then they froze, and they couldn't move. They just couldn't kill him. He was absorbed in bhajan, but he's just Prabhu, he's so powerful that nothing inauspicious could happen to him. So then the demons, they went away, and they went to their guru, Shukracharya, and they said, we just froze, we couldn't kill him. So what should we do? So their guru said, okay, you have to interrupt his devotion. When his devotion is interrupted, then he won't have that prabhav, and then you can kill him. So you should go there. Don't worry about the weapons. Just surround him and speak atheist philosophy. You should speak. So you should just speak, all different philosophies, whatever, existentialism, phenomenology, and postmodernism, post-structuralism, whatever. All these philosophies which are going around. And they're all coming where? Where is it? It's gone now. It's all based on, they're all just some different flavors of nominalism. So all these atheistic, very contracted, the products of contracted consciousness. And you should blaspheme God. God is bogus, God doesn't exist. Like this. So they all surrounded him, and they all started to ninda. They're all shouting offenses to God, and offenses to devotees, and offenses to bhakti. They're all like that. But Upachari Vasu just felt so sorry for them that suddenly the enmity in the art just dissipated. And then they decided not to kill him. And then they just felt inclined towards devotional service. So here's an example. Don't think the pure devotee is going around judging everyone and giving mercy to this one and not to that one. No. Because Upachari Vasu, even great offenders, he gave mercy to them. Another example is Nityananda Prabhu, because he's doing like an Acharya Leela. Madai tried to smash his head with the pot, and Nityananda Prabhu said, oh my brother, chant the holy names. There are so many examples in Shastra. So that's just addressing the first part of your question, which is about, are the devotees seeing everyone is already doing bhakti, like that. So yes, in Uttam Bhagavad stage, yes, but they don't preach because there's no one to preach to. They think that they're the lowest one. So the Kripa Shakti of the Lord enters into them, and their vision becomes adjusted, and then they can see. Now the Madhyam Adhikaris are not so powerful that they can give mercy to envious persons. If an actual Madhyam Adhikari will try to give mercy to an envious person, they'll become more offensive. And so the Madhyam Adhikari avoids the envious persons. But he's not against them. He can pray to Krishna on their behalf that one day they'll change.
but he does do upeksha, that means he neglects them. He doesn't neglect them in the heart, he neglects them physically. They think they're being neglected by him, and then they don't bother him, and they don't make more offense. But he cares about them, he wants them to progress. But the Uttam Adhikari, whose vision is adjusted to the Madhyam stage, they can just give mercy to everyone, the high and low, in any situation. So that's the first part of your question. Now the second part of your question, if someone is connected with a Mahabhagavat pure devotee, are they already in a liberated condition because they're connected with someone who's liberated? And yes and no, because it's not black and white. The Jivan Mukta, it's not like a switch, on and off. Jivan Mukta on, Jivan Mukta off, like that. You know, there's a spectrum, there are degrees. So, once a person, they try to surrender their spiritual master and they develop some affection and some attachment to the Guru, then we can say they're Jivan Mukta in unripe stage. Like apple is also an apple when it's unripe, but it's bitter, it's tart, so no one will eat it. But it's only a question of time. So that person, they're not really liberated yet, quite, but they're samyak vyavahito hi saha. Their determination has been placed. Their determination has been placed in the right place. So it's only a matter of time. They will be Jivan Mukta. They will be liberated. So it was with that kind of vision that once Srila Prabhupada said, someone said, well, you know, out of all the devotees here, who's a pure devotee? Srila Prabhupada said, all my devotees are pure devotees. So of course they weren't. But what he was seeing is, all those who are serving him now, their determination is fixed. It's only a matter of time. And they'll become Jivan Mukta. Another example is given of a snake whose fangs and poison have been removed. So now that snake can't kill anyone. But still, if you go near the snake will come up like this and he'll go through the motions of biting, but it won't have any effect. So in the same way, if someone has chanted Namabhas, someone has served pure devotees, then their karma is gone. But they still may behave like an ordinary person, doing things that persons who have sins do. Like Ajamil chanted the name of Narayan, but he continued to do sinful activities. But the first name had actually destroyed all of his karma. But he was like that snake with no fangs. Out of purva bhyas, that means out of previous habit, he still did wrong things. So on a deeper level, he was already liberated. We know he's liberated, but he wasn't having the experience that he was liberated, because he was still under control of some previous samskars. But he was actually liberated because the sins that he was doing out of habit weren't producing any more effects. They weren't binding anymore. So when the end of his life came, then there were no sins to make him take another birth. So the Vishnu Dutas came and said, hey, Yamadutas, you can't take him, he's a sinless person. But they said, look, he's been doing sins like right up to the end. I said, no. Those sins were only purva bhyas. He was actually liberated by the first name. So there's also a difference between a person being liberated from their karma, factually, on the deep level, and the subjective experience of the person, who still hasn't got the shelter of bhakti that's taken over their senses, and now they're fully engaged in bhakti. They're still under the influence of some samskar, like that. So there's this position. It's a bit like a fan, right? A fan is only spinning around, so someone pulls the plug. So the plug is pulled, but the fan keeps spinning for some time. So is the fan on or is it off? Right? If you look at it, it's on. But if you look at the plug, actually it's off. like that. But it will take some time for the blades to stop spinning, like so we can see it in that way. So when the blade stops, that's actually Jivan Mukta. But from the very beginning, when the plug was pulled, he started to surrender. Actually, he's almost as good as a Jivan Mukta. It's just a question of maturity. Is that okay? Yeah. Any other question? Yes.
Aspetta, il significato intimo della resa, perché il significato esterno è difficilmente capibile, e il processo per raggiungerlo.
He wants to know what is the meaning deep of surrender and what is the process for achieve that.
Yes. Listen to the recording from the class yesterday morning, right? Yesterday morning we were discussing Sharanagati surrender has 6 parts. 6 parts. So hear that one again. I went through step by step by step. It begins with selecting your shelter. Krishna is my guardian. Yeah, 2 days ago. And accepting in your life all the things which are favorable for bhakti and rejecting what is unfavorable. So we can see in our own life to what degree we've adopted all the favorable things. And to what degree we're also still entangled in things which really are detrimental to our progress in spiritual life. So in that class we discussed in some detail the different favorable things. Shuddha Bhakata Charana, that's one. And we discussed also the detrimental things, Atyahara Prayasasya, overeating, associated with worldly minded person, being greedy and so on. So it's all there. Hear it again. Another? Tribanga.
Bhakti Thakur says, I forgot exactly where, but I think you might know it. Mr. Sangha knows it. That someone who worships another person as being much more advanced than he is doing something as detrimental to his spiritual life than as if he is worshipping someone, or if he's putting down someone. Insulting someone who is actually very advanced. So in this regard, I would like you to maybe elaborate a little bit on this, and especially I'm curious to know if, like, for example, if you worship someone who is not on that level that you say that he is, and from this Pratishta, he falls down, is the one who worshipped him in an improper way also guilty of that?
Well, you said that Krishna Chandra knows some verse which expresses that. So, if he knows, he can tell. I know. I don't know. He's saying he doesn't know either.
No, there's only the name of the title of the book of Bhakti.
Where he says that.
Oh, Bhakti-Alok. There's a book called Bhakti-Alok.
Yeah,
And in Bhakti-Alok, there's an analysis. Actually, Bhakti-Alok does a very fine analysis of the verses of Upadeshamrita describing the 6 things which are favorable and 6 things which are unfavorable for bhakti. So what we have here, we have a situation where that, let's say someone is worshipping a Kanishta Adhikari and thinking that he's a Uttam, right? Now the Kanishta Adhikari has an artist. He's not free from offense. And by being worshipped, he himself will become puffed up. And he will actually teach the disciples to be offensive to others. That's the danger. That's the danger, right? And so to worship a Kanishta Adhikari and say he's a Uttam is also indirectly, not knowingly, but inadvertently, it is minimizing those who are actually Uttam Adhikaris. Right? And because of being misguided by an avaricious, greedy person who wants a Pratishta and so on, then they'll be influenced to commit offenses to advanced devotees. It's very dangerous, and we see that. I've seen this. I mean, it's going on. It has been going on. It is going on, and it will be going on also. because that's the nature of the material world. So that's dangerous. That's one point. Now, another point, let's say that a person doesn't have so much Sukriti or impressions, and they come into the association, and they have some guidance from a Kanishta Adhikari for some time, but they're sincere. Then, the service that they're doing, if it's being done with faith, they're trying, then Krishna will be very lenient with that person. Their faith is, they're trying to gradually make progress. So, if they're being told to commit offenses, and that person is sincere, they'll say, wait a minute, this is not good. And they'll lose their faith in that person and seek out a higher association. So, it's not black and white, there are some nuances in different situations. So you can have like a really demonic person playing the role of guru, maybe Kanishta Adhikari, maybe not even Kanishta Adhikari. And so many people someone's worshiping, and they're also envious. And they're just doing it, oh, here's the big shot, and if I'm next to the big shot, I can also become a big shot. So then they overlook all the anomalies in the behavior, they overlook all the anomalies in the philosophy and everything, because they're blinded by their motivations. Completely dangerous. Completely dangerous. But what if an innocent person comes into that association and starts to practice samangas of bhakti? If they're innocent, then they'll gradually understand something's wrong here, and then they'll go to a higher association, like that. Then another situation. Let's say that the guru is a Madhyam Bhagavata, right? So his disciples, they're Prakrita Bhakta, they're Kanishta, right? So the Prakrita Bhakta cannot discriminate. The Kanishta Adhikari cannot discriminate between Kanishta, Madhyam and Uttam. Right? Just can't do that. He hasn't developed the internal realization to be able to recognize another person who has internal realization. Because there's some signs, there's some things that you can understand. By the way that they speak, by the way that they behave, by the way that they chant. One who has internal experience can recognize another person with internal experience. But even the Madhyam Bhagavat may not be able to identify among others who he thinks are Madhyam Bhagavats who are actually Uttam Bhagavats. That power of recognition may not be there. And that's why the Uttam Adhikari can only be known by his own revelation. By his own mercy, someone can, when he reveals himself, then even the Madhyam Bhagavat can understand, really this is a Uttam Bhagavat. Now, in that position, where the Guru is a Madhyam Bhagavat, and the disciples, they don't know. Okay. So they worship him as Uttam Bhagavat. It's actually okay. It's actually okay.
What if then the Madhyam Bhagavat becomes proud and thinks he's all-knowing and he can do anything, he can enjoy, and he's a
Madhyam Bhagavat, that starts from Ruchi. It's like Ruchi Asakti and Bhav. Right? So, it
shouldn't happen.
Yeah.
But
Extremely
says even on a high level it can.
That's a warning about offenses. It said even a person in the stage of Bhav, if they make an offense, then their Bhav can turn into Bhav Abhas. If it's a strong offense, their Bhav will turn into Bhav Abhas, and if it's a more minor offense, but to a great devotee, their Bhav will change to a lower rasa. Let's say they had Bhav in Madhurya Rasa, and they make an offense to a great devotee. Not a a strong offense, they'll lose their Bhav and it will be Bhav Abhas. But just something a little less severe, then their Bhav may turn into a Dasiras, or even Shantaras.
Can it be that they still preach Madhurya Bhav, but actually they have, because they are in this mood, let's say the disciples have this expectation that they don't feel it anymore.
Absolutely. Yeah. For sure. And even today, there are some gurus I know, they're quite famous today. They themselves are actually in Sakya Rasa. But they often speak the glories of Madhurya Rasa, because that's our sampradaya is predominantly Madhurya Rasa. So though it's not their own It's not their thing, but they still glorify the gopis and everything. Of course, the Priyanama Sakhas glorify the gopis, but Gopi Bhav isn't their bhav. You see, like that. So that is it. I just want to come back to that point about the Madhyamadikari, the disciples of a Madhyam Bhagavat, the disciples of a Madhyam Bhagavat, seeing that he's Uttam. One day, I was walking with my Gurudev, and I said, if there's a disciple and his guru is a Madhyam Bhagavata, should he think that the body of the guru is made of the 5 elements, but now the Swarup Shakti has entered into him, and so his body is kind of spiritualized? Or should he see that the body of his guru is Satchidananda? So Satchidananda, if someone's coming from the spiritual world, their body is Satchidananda, they come here, the body is Satchidananda. So how should he see? Gurudev said, the disciple should see his guru, that he is completely Satchidananda, even if he is a Madhyam Bhagavat. So I'm repeating my Gurudev's exact words. He said, not only should he think that his body is Satchidananda, he should think that his shoes are Satchidananda, his cloth is Satchidananda, his toothbrush is Satchidananda, his bed is Satchidananda. So, and then that disciple will advance very, very rapidly.
Even if it's not true.
Yes.
Yes.
You should, because you see, the thing is, that Madhyam Bhagavat is so far ahead, right, that very soon one can go through the stages, Ruchi Asakti Bhav, quite. And also, in the stage of Asakti, then the Siddha Deha is coming. The realization of the Siddha Deha is coming. An identification with that. So that Siddha Deha is Satchidananda. That realization. And when Bhav comes, Bhav is also in Madhyam Bhagavat. When Bhav comes, then they are directly having the internal experience of serving Radha and Krishna. Is also Madhyam Bhagavata. So, even though that devotee himself, he may not be a Nitya Siddha, but his Bhav is Nitya Siddha. Because the Bhav is never something new. What is Bhav? Nitya Siddhasya Bhavasya Prakatyam Riddhi Sadyata. Like this. So there's some the nuances that should be reconciled and understood, that one just becomes so very extremely fanatical. Because it's a sliding scale, there's a spectrum of considerations that we have to take into consideration. So the Madhyam Bhagavat is very advanced, and the Bhav, first Bhava Bhas is coming, then actual Bhav is coming, and that Bhav is Nitya Siddha. So the disciple will be also inoculated against offense. Because how does he know that he's also not? Maybe he is Uttam Bhagavat. He doesn't know. He doesn't actually know. How can one recognize that someone is Madhyam Bhagavat? Gurudev said, by 2 things. One, Shastragya. Because the Madhyam Bhagavat is Uttam Adhikari. So the Madhyam Bhagavat, Kanishta Madhyam and Uttam Adhikari is one thing, and Madhyam Bhagavat and Uttam Bhagavat is another. So the Madhyam Bhagavat is minimum Uttam Adhikari. So Shastra Yukti Sunipun, they are expert in Shastra. So if a person can explain all the Shastra very meticulously and reconcile everything with expertise, Shastra Yukti Sunipun, then maybe a Madhyam Bhagavat or Uttam Adhikari. But maybe not. Because some persons, they just have a really big IQ and they can catch so many things. And it may give the impression that their understanding of Siddhanta, because the juniors also, they don't know the Siddhanta so well, so they can often not tell when they're told something which is not true as well. So that consider. So Gurudev said, the first symptom one can look for to have some idea, it's maybe a Madhyam Bhagavat, is the Shastragya. But that's not infallible. And then the second one is Ruchi in Harinam. That's the second one. So if you see a very intense taste for Harinam, the chanting lakhs and lakhs of Harinam, no, sleeping, then, and for Kirtan as well, Japa and Kirtan both, then if you can see both of these things, then that's the best you can know, you can be, you can have a good trust. Oh, this is more than likely Madhyam Bhagavat.
What about if someone is a Madhyam Adhikari and he's worshipped as an Uttam Adhikari, even as someone who has descended from the spiritual world?
Not good.
It's not good, huh?
No.
How? Yeah.
No. Because he's very steady in bhakti but hasn't developed ruchi yet.
Yes.
So my Gurudev used to say all fall downs occur from Nishtha. All fall downs occur from the stage of Nishtha. What does that mean? Because they haven't developed ruchi, so there is a tendency to, that they might be allured by fame and money and things like that in the material world. And because those lower than Nishtha, they're already fallen. So they can't fall down, because if they don't have Nishtha, you're already fallen. Right? That's why he used to say, all fall downs occur from Nishtha. Because Nishtha is not fallen, because he's really steady in his activities. But, but once Ruchi comes, it's unlikely.
So what happens to these persons who worship someone who's a Madhyam Adhikari as an Nityasiddha?
You know, my Gurudev, very qualified from the beginning of his life, manifesting all the symptoms of Mahabhagavata, literally. He would go somewhere and just look at someone, they would start to cry. When he went one time, I remember, I was with Gurudev going preaching in Fiji. So there was a guru there who had many disciples, and he didn't want them to associate with my Gurudev. So, but at the same time, he was careful, he didn't want them to make offense to him as well. So he actually told them, he said, look, if Srila Narayan Maharaj comes to the temple, you can give him a garland, let him see the deities and everything, but don't look in his eyes. Because there's a kripa drishti. Just by their merciful glance, they can just look. And then it's all over. And you think, oh my God. Wherever he goes, I want to be there. I just want to hear her guitar and serve everything. So this can happen. So my Guru had all those symptoms like that. But he would always he would always speak like, I may be a Madhyam Bhagavat. He would speak like that. He would never tell, I have come from the spiritual world. But the disciples, seeing some symptoms, everything, they would honor like that. But he himself would never tell. So if one who is really from there will not tell, then what kind of wicked person who is like a Konishta or in the state of Nishtha who is going to tell, I am from the spiritual world? You know? So what kind of wickedness is this?
Who is not saying that, but his disciples are saying that. And I see that problems are rising, so I want to hear about that. He's saying no.
It's just, it's an
he's
unfortunate.
just humble, and actually he's Siddha Mahatma.
It was never going to stop. That's not going to end. It's always happened, is happening, and always will happen.
Yeah.
Because some persons are unfortunate. They're unfortunate, but they will gradually become fortunate. If someone doesn't make offense, even if you make mistakes, you'll still progress. This is the thing in Bhakti. You can be mistaken, but if you're not offensive, you still progress. So this is the main thing. Krishna is very merciful, his devotees are very merciful, and everyone has wonderful opportunity, chance to progress. And so if you can just be humble and not offend anyone, everyone will progress, regardless of their mistakes and problems along the way. So be happy in your spiritual life. Yes, Krishna Chandra Prabhu.
Just before you said that Madhyamadikari, because he doesn't have this Shakti, he's avoiding those who are envious, but he's not against.
Yeah.
He doesn't have dvesha, anything.
He doesn't have ill will towards them.
But, and then he's praying to Krishna. So, if the cause, yadricha, is actually, the sadhu is, and not Krishna, so what is he praying to Krishna?
Yes, but the cause is the sadhu, still the sadhu.
Yes. So what should he, what can...
Vaishnavera abhidana Krishna doyamai. Heino pamara pratihabhine sadoi. Krishna's mercy will come to the person who's pamara, completely wretched, if a Vaishnava prays on his behalf. The cause of the mercy was not Krishna's partiality. It was the yadricha, the free will of the Vaishnava. So it's still, everything is still ahoitaki. Yeah? Okay. So that was everyone should have a break.